Hey guys, it's Bill from Linden, Tennessee. Sorry about not getting a video out last weekend, but the truth is I didn't do anything to the Volkswagen. I did some stuff around the house and whatever. I just did other stuff. And you can see that this is just a disaster. I have run out of room, and we're going to talk about that, sort of the purpose of this video. But I do want to send a shout out to the crew at EVTV, Ian and Brian, Noto, and certainly Jackie, for sending me a Model 3 charge port. Now, this is the only part you would actually see in the car. There'll be a flap that comes open. It's on the left rear, sort of by the rear blinker, and the flap comes open, and there's a charge port, and you plug the thing in there. Now they sent me one of these things under the condition that if I get this thing to work in the Volkswagen, that I'll give them a shout out. Well, I'm going to give them a shout out now because I'm not really sure if I'm going to be able to get this to work. It's very obviously proprietary to the car, and this is the orientation of it, and you can see how the cables, which are just massive, I don't know what these are. They're 35 millimeters square. And I don't know, they must have a lot of insulation on them or something. I don't know. But this is for the supercharging. So these cables have to withstand a lot of current for a sustained amount of time. These supercharge stations, they can theoretically put up to 300 kilowatts, 350 kilowatts, I think. And then that would be over a time period of like, 15, 20 minutes. In the car, when you put your foot on it, the car could see 350 or more kilowatts, but it's not going to be for 15 minutes. It's going to be for like, 10 seconds or something. But anyway, the deal is these cables come up at about a 45-degree angle. And if I'm going to put this in where my fuel thing is, you can see that it would come up the wrong way. It would go back up over the top of the wheel well. Now, I don't know that won't work. I don't know that won't work. Maybe it will work. But I just wanted to kind of talk about it right now because I sort of went through this thing and saw what I could try and see how this thing is sort of put together. That there on the bottom is like a little latch, and it's got a little thing like a door, and it just locks the charge cable in there. And then, of course, this is the part that you see, and then I took the back off of this thing, and all it is just filled with like RTV kind of, but I don't know, we'll see. I might be able to use this part as it is, make a little mount, and then have these cables go up and over the wheel arch. That's entirely possible, and I will, of course, keep you informed as I go along with that. The other thing is I got some rear leaf springs. Last video I talked about this. I've got this thing Tennessee squatting, and before I can really make any brackets or mounts for either the batteries or the drive unit itself, I need to get some new leaf springs. I don't know if these leaf springs are going to be any stronger than the old ones, but they're they certainly can't hurt. It may turn out that I'm going to have to find a helper spring to put on them just to help, or put some airbags or both. Air shocks or all three, who knows. But the weird thing is I got this from Parts Place Inc., and it's a really good mom and pop shop. They got really good customer service, and they do have a whole lot of pieces for stuff like this, but they oddly leave things out. I kind of had a go around. I won't say go around, but I got very annoyed with them when I was rebuilding the engine, the diesel engine on this Volkswagen. They sent me a complete gasket kit for an engine rebuild, but it didn't have the little gasket for the exhaust, which is just, crazy to me, because why wouldn't you have that? It turns out that people who know how to take those exhausts apart don't take apart the part that I took apart that needed the gasket. So it's not too surprising that gasket's not included, because nobody does that. Anyway, I did that. So the weird thing is that they don't include the rear bushings for the shocks or for the springs, and that is definitely something you would want to replace. If you're replacing these springs, you will want to replace all the bushings, because why wouldn't you? You're in here. And I'm not even sure if the old bushings can come out. So I ordered. So I emailed them, and they got back with me like, yeah, it's not on the website. It should be. It should be attached to the springs, as an option for sure. But anyway, got them on order. Got them coming. Last time we talked also about the hubs. I got the spindles off of this, obviously, and took the hubs out because I'm going to make little donuts. I need to have 5 lug. I need to have 5 lugs in the front. So I brought the spindles to work, turned them on the big lathe, turned their outside diameter down past where the lug holes were. And you can kind of look back at the other video if you want to, or don't. And I turned the spindles down, and then I made like little donuts. Basically, they just look like that disc without the hub in the middle, and then they fit on top of the spindle that I turned down. I will weld the donut to the spindle, and then drill my 5 holes on each side so that I can put these in. These are just lug studs. Yep, and then I will have 5 by 120 bolt pattern front and back. Once those are on there, I can put the spindles and everything back together and somehow put some weight in the front of this to try and get it to what ride height is. And then I can take a tape measure and measure to the inner wheel well during, when the steering is on lock. And then I can figure out what my backspacing can be. So in this case, like, you'd put a straight edge on the disc, and then you'd measure back to here. And it turns out that to the inside, from the disc to where it hits the wheel well, it's about 6 inches or so. So you come off of that, an inch. And so that leaves you with 5 with an inch. So you got 5 inches to the center of the disc. And then if you run a straight edge up to here, I think last time I had a piece of angle on there, so I could sweep this to make sure it would fit a 25-inch tire. If you do all that, it looks like I could be able to put a 10-inch rim on here if I wanted to. I don't know if I do want to, but I need to do the same procedure to the front and have it turn lock to lock left and right, and see how much room I've got, how big of a tire I can turn on the front. It may turn out that I can't actually do a 25-inch tire on the front, so I'll have to either stagger my tires like the Ferraris and Lamborghinis of yore do, or put smaller tires in the back, which is fine. If I ever drag race this thing, I will probably have like a set of drag slicks that I could just swap out at the track, and that would be pretty wicked. The other thing I've been thinking about, and this is because I've had quite a few people message me and comment that they're concerned that when I put this drive unit back here, that it's going to twist my little truck like a pretzel. Now, they're not wrong, but the way that they're thinking of it twisting, the way I think they're thinking is that if you ever watch like a dragster, like a car dragster, take off, the left front wheel always comes up off the ground. The reason for that is it's the torque of the engine. The torque of the engine is lifting that left front part of the car, because the engine is mounted front to back with the axis of the rotation going front to back. And then as soon as it hits the differential, it takes a 90-degree and goes out to your tires. And all of that reverse torque from the differential goes through the drive shaft, through the transmission, through the engine, into the engine mount, and lifts the left front tire up. That's what happens. I have the same problem in the Jeep, actually. Whenever I put my foot down on it to stop, the left front tire spins out, and it's annoying. But this isn't going to have that same problem because the drive unit is going to be mounted left to right. So the torque of the motor is going to be trying to pick up the whole front of the truck, right? And yeah, that's it. So my front motor mount, which is going to be pushing up against the bottom of the bed wherever I have it mounted. The rear motor mount is going to be pulling down against the back of the bed wherever I have it mounted. And that's it. That's where the torque is going to be. And that's how it's going to be applied. but they've all suggested that this little frame might not be strong enough for it, and I don't disagree. They're right. So what I want to do is I think I'm gonna make like a subframe out of 2 by something or other rectangular tubing. I'm gonna make a subframe that the motor can have very solid mounts against, and then that subframe will mount against the unibody of the Volkswagen in several places, so that that pressure, that torque is spread out as evenly as possible. And I may even entertain the idea of putting some sort of like stealthy roll cage. So if you imagine underneath the bed here, my subframe, which is just going to be a big rectangle that holds the drive unit and the front and the battery box, have some tubes coming out of it that go up over the wheel well, and then possibly go into the back of the bed, through the back of the bed right there into the passenger compartment, and then they would tie down into the either just the interior of the car, interior of the truck, maybe down there, kind of like where your foot would go out the door. Maybe it would tie down there into the structure. I don't know. But I say all of this, and then I go back to what I was saying at the beginning of the video. I don't have any room. I am just fresh out of room for all this stuff. So what I'm going to do, let's go for a walk. Hold on. Yeah, so what I'm going to do, and before I go any further with the truck itself, is I'm going to make a lean-to off of my solar panels here. So that's about 9 feet tall right there. And then I'm going to have it, and it's 20 feet long. I'm going to have it come out about 10 feet this way. I'll have a pad poured, and then I'll have a dried in lean-to shed. This whole wall will be dried in, and the whole thing will be dried in. I'll have just some, so a double door going in, probably into the front and to the back, who knows, just so I can do a pull through, or just the front, and have storage along the back. And there'll be shelves along the short wall, and tables and all kinds of stuff. But it'll have a pad, and this is my my inverter that takes the power off, the DC power off of the solar panels and changes it to 220. And it has obviously outputs for 220, and I've got an untapped circuit breaker in there that I can run power to this thing. So it'll of course have lights, but it could also have like tools. So I could have, I do in fact have a table saw. I could have a table saw in here. I could have my woodworking stuff in here. I could also have less used but much more bulky items in here, like possibly a plasma table, or another compressor with a sandblaster or something. I don't know. But the point is that everything that is in my garage that isn't helping me get this Volkswagen done, it's in the way. I'm going to put it all out here. And speaking of things I'm going to put out there, this tractor is one of them with the little bush hog, and I've got other implements that go with it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this. This was going to be my biodiesel processing tank. It just never worked out that way. So this is probably just going to go to scrap, because I put like a dome on the bottom of it so it doesn't have a flat bottom anymore. So I don't really know what else I could do with the thing. So I'm probably just going to pitch it, I guess. And again, there's my table saw. I'll put it out there. And I've got two miter saws and just all kinds of crap. Another project over there that I will get to. I'm going to do. That's my trike. I will finish that. Just stuff that I can get out of here and put over there. Okay, that is pretty much it. It's the video of telling you that I didn't really do anything, but this is my new plans. And if you don't see any videos in the future of progress on the VW, it's because there isn't any progress on the VW, and that's why I'm making the lean-to. Okay, well, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.